Hello, my name is Moshe Heller, and I'm from Moshen Herbs. And I wanted to thank the American Acupuncture Council for um, letting me host this talk this morning. Um, I wanted to, I'm going to be speaking about formulas for this season. And so let's go right away and start with the first slide. So I wanted to talk about two formulas that are associated with this coming season, the spring season. So, as we all know, it's officially started 2 days ago. So, we're at the beginning of spring. And I wanted to mention or talk about or discuss two formulas. One is the first formula is called Shield. It's a formula again by Moshen Herbs that I created to support and boost the immune system. And then the other formula I'll be speaking about today is React, which also is another formula by Motion Herbs for that I created for allergies, which is really at beginning of the season of allergies. As we all know, everything starts to be itchy and irritated a little bit as the pollen levels rise. So I wanted to start first with the shield formula, and this formula I created based on Yuping Feng San, which we all know as jade windscreen, and I combined it with guajitan, which is cinnamon twig decoction, and together these two formulas strengthen the exterior and harmonize the function of the Wei and Yin Qi, so that when our patient encounters a pathogen, the body is able to resolve it quickly. And that's a really important thing I wanted to stress is that it's not about not getting sick because especially when we're treating children, they do encounter pathogens, and also as adults we also are able to or supposed to get sick. The issue is that we need to resolve it completely and quickly. And exactly that's what this shield formula will help. So, in this encounter with this pathogen, whether it's a pediatric patient or an adult patient, the body of our patient is learning to deal with this pathogen that they encountered. So in a sense, every time we get sick, it's a learning opportunity, and it's important to remember that, because the more we learn, the more we are able to ward off. And so uh, I think Shield is an extremely helpful formula for this situation. So I want to break it down a little further, and how I created this formula. I first wanted to make sure that the chi is strong, and also that the chi transformation, or what we call sometimes chi hua, is complete. And so, on top of this two formulas I mentioned before, jade windscreen and cinnamon twig decoction, I also combined urchin tongue, banxia and chenpi mostly as the two main herbs of that formula. And those herbs will help to transform dampness, and otherwise, if the dampness accumulates, it will hinder the functioning of the spleen, and that's why it's important. So these two formulas, this formula 2 cure decoction helps in that transformation and keeping the transformation going. Um, and so on top of that, I added another herb, Shen, which is a really amazing herb. I really love that, and you'll see I use it a lot in other formulas also. The advantages of it is that Shen strengthens the spleen qi, but also works on regulating the water pathways and the transformation uh, pathways of the spleen. So it helps in generating fluids, generating pure fluids, not turbid fluids. Pure fluids will help to nourish and move and will move freely in your body, whereas turbid fluids, if the transformation is not complete, will create dampness and then phlegm. So I really like Shen to support this transformation. Um, so the in addition, I also added Wu Weizi, which helps the formula consolidate the exterior, but also bringing the kidney support to the lung. So there's a better relationship or communication between the lung and the kidney. That the kidney supports the lung functions in both moving fluids, transforming fluids, and keeping the Wei Qi secure. Um, Finally, we also added Guggen. It's a really also another one of my favorite herbs because it works on two levels. One, it supports digestion and helps with the normal function of the spleen. And on the other hand, it really helps to kind of support the exterior. So in harmonizing the muscle layer in our what we call the muscle layer, which is this kind of relationship or is connected to the relationship between the yin and the wei level functioning. Um, I also added lastly a linger, which is, as we know, a really good adaptogenic mushroom that is considered a really potent immune system tonic. So we have um, um, all the herbs that I mentioned yeah, are sort of like structured in this way. Our main formula is Yuping Feng San with the addition of Tai Shen. Then we have Gui Jitang with the addition of Gregun, and also I added Jin Hua to help clear any heat and also support the exterior. And as the third layer being urchin tongue, transforming that potential phlegm and making sure that qi transformation is complete, together with Wu Weizi and Ling Zhi. So this is the structure of Shield. It's as I said, it's a really great formula. I've been not only using it in my office, but a lot of practitioners have been purchasing it from me with really great results on supporting various kinds of conditions. Between just as a immune tonic, especially during the pandemic, and then also as a spring preparation formula, because a lot of times, as we know, when we see seasonal allergies, it's all about harmonizing the yin and the wei qi and making sure that the immune system is functioning normally, and therefore will not react to the pollen as sometimes happens. So the next formula I wanted to discuss is React, and it's actually a very, very interesting formula. I believe so, at least. And it's based on the formula WUME1, which is an anti-parasitic formula, or a formula associated with the Jue Yin level. So um, it's kind of sometimes curious why we might use that for allergies. Anyway, the theory, and I'll show you some research that's been done on that to support it, is that anti-parasitic herbs inspire is maybe not the exact word, but kind of promote the body to regulate the the immune response, and specifically the allergic immune response, meaning mast cell, histamine response, etc. Um, so this formula combines hot and cold herbs, and to address the Chinese perspective of allergies, which is kind of common that we have both heat and cold concurrently in the usually the patterns of allergies. So classically we'll see this kind of um, the nasal, let's say, discharge is usually clear, which represents a cold condition. But a lot of times, this kind of hyperactivity and hyper responsiveness is a sign of heat. So there's this kind of uh, both heat and cold symptoms that manifest in the same time. So React takes Wu-Mei-Wan as the basis of the formula, and then adds herbs that are commonly used for food, and environmental allergies like Feizi, Binglang, Yujin, Beisha-Shen, and Gaoliang-Jiang, and also Cang Erzi and Fangfang are commonly used. And so, and then added some adaptogenic herbs like Renshen and Taizishen, as I mentioned before in Shield, to focus the formula on recalibrating and harmonizing the Wei Qi functions. So, if we look, this is the research I was referring to. It comes from Dr. Lee from Mount Sinai, but this is the link to the article if you're interested in reading, and you should be getting the slides, so you could access it if you want to read more about this research. It's fascinating, about the use of Wu Mei Wan. And so I also put here the original formula of Wu Mei Wan. So if you look up Wu Mei Wan pills, these are the ingredients. You'll see that there's one of the herbs I had to change. It's called Shishin, or Herba Acaricum rhytis, and this is a herb that I had to eliminate because it's not available. I think FDA removed it from being used, or so I had to change that. And uh, I wanted to show you that this is the finalized formula in that Dr. Lee used, and so the original formula, Jifuzi and Shishin, were eliminated in the uh, research formula. I kept the Jifuzi in the formula. So This is the React formula. That's the breakdown. Here's Wu Mei one. You see we have Wu Mei, and instead of Shishin, I added Zisu Ye as a substitute for it. But I did keep the aconite Zhifutsu in the formula. And again, here on the right, you'll see all the herbs that I added for known to kind of help in regulating food and environmental allergies, and as well as the adaptogenic herbs I mentioned before. So this is the formula. React is really great for seasonal and environmental and food allergies. So it addresses a lot of the different manifestation of allergies, and it's a great formula. And I've used it for many of my patients, from food allergies all the way to environmental allergies, and whether it manifests with eczema or other signs and symptoms of different allergies, or even gastrointestinal if it's a food allergies. I also mentioned mast cell activation disorder. Um, so this is another uh, um, manifestation of an allergic or allergy syndrome. So it's getting a lot of attention, and it's a very interesting syndrome that you can look into. And React works really well. I've had quite a few mast cell activation disorder patients that were really helped by React. So, what I want to add as a caution when you use React: if somebody shows or manifests anaphylactic shock or anaphylactic uh, allergic response, you have to be very careful about prescribing this formula and working. And it's um, really important that you work with the uh, patient's doctor for testing reduced sensitivity for those anaphylactic results and or anaphylactic causes. Um, and also, I wanted to mention that we have a very specific dosage suggestion. This formula is not both of these formulas are not formulas you take necessarily symptomatically to resolve a symptom, but rather you take it long term. Both of them need a minimum phase of 3 months before they come to their full effect. And so there's a 3 months minimal period. Sometimes you need longer individually, so 3 months is an average. Some patients will respond faster, and some patients will respond more slowly. Um, and it also depends on how much acupuncture is concurrently administered, and how they're responding to all the other guidelines you might um, give them as part of the treatment. So excuse me, but generally speaking, it's really important to understand that this is not a both of these formulas are not short-term formulas. There's sort of like an accumulating effect that happens while taking these formulas for a few months before kind of considering the results. So these were the two formulas I wanted to discuss. I encourage you to visit our website, motionherbs.com. And I wanted to thank you very much for listening. And I also wanted to thank again the AAC for letting me do this presentation. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.